close your eyes. Imagine this. November 22nd, 1963, Dallas. The world shatters with gunshots. Kennedy's blood stains the streets. And 1,000 miles away, in a quiet Hollywood bedroom, a blind man in his late 60s, almost deaf, almost broken, whispers to his wife, "Lighter, stronger, please." She slides the needle into his arm. One last dose of LSD, Aldous Huxley's final trip, not to escape death, but to embrace it, to burst through the doors he spent a lifetime chasing. This is the story of a man who didn't just write about ecstasy, he lived it, he injected it, he died for it. Aldous Huxley, the poet who became a prophet, the skeptic who surrendered to the infinite, and in his shadow, the Beats, the Hippies, Jim Morrison screaming poetry into the void. All of them, his children, all of them chasing his ghost. Let's go back to the fog of Edwardian England. Huxley wasn't born ordinary, great-grandnephew of poet Matthew Arnold on his mother's side. Son of a family that breathed science like air, encyclopedic minds, artists in lab coats. Aldous inherits it all, the curiosity that dissects worlds, the sensitivity that feels their pulse. He starts as a poet. Don't let the novels fool you. That's what people overlook. From his first breaths in verse to his last whispers on the page, Huxley was a maker of words that twist like smoke. Influenced by the Wild Hearts, Walt Whitman's barbaric yawp across America, Ezra Pound's sharp edges, T.S. Eliot's wasteland echoes, Rimbaud's drunken boat adrift in senses, Jules Laforgue's ironic bite, his early poems, complex tapestries, metaphors that coil like serpents, irony laced with a bitter ache, a nostalgia for the spirit's lost tongue. Then come the prose sparks, short stories flickering like fireflies, culminating in those razor-sharp satires, novels that carve open the hollow soul of British high society, empty mansions, barren laughs, leaves falling in a godless garden. But then, Lawrence, D.H. Lawrence, the firebrand mystic with ink-stained hands. Their friendship? A revelation. Huxley drinks deep from that well of raw life, of flesh and soul entwined. Out pours the pivot. Point, counterpoint. In Gaza. Fugues of intellect crashing against the heart's wild drum. Literature reborn. Life too. World War II rages. Fame crosses oceans like a whisper. From London salons to New York speakeasies, Huxley's name is a talisman. Then, 1937, he crosses to California, the sun-baked dream factory, Hollywood's glitter-hiding deserts of the soul. Here, he ignites the bohemian blaze. Serge Fauchereau called it, "Huxley seeds the Beat Generation's wild soil." Allen Ginsberg howling in the streets, Jack Kerouac racing the void, Gregory Corso spitting prophecies, and later, Jim Morrison, Ray Manzarek, The Doors, stolen straight from Huxley's pages. The Doors of Perception. That essay, born from Blake's blaze, if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. Morrison etched it on his skin, his soul, his screams. In America, Huxley's no longer just the elite wit, the ironist skewering Oxford ghosts with erudite arrows. He's the key holder, the one who maps the uncharted. His books, feasts for the starved mind, laced with references that sparkle like hidden gems. But beneath the clarity, the cold cathedrals of intellect, a flicker, a flame, artistic, alive, timid at first, then in California's heat it roars. He feels it now, the metaphysical hunger gnawing at his core, a vocation almost holy, dread of the chains, prisons of the spirit felt in bone and breath, like those essays on De Quincey's opium dreams, Beckford's Gothic towers, echoes of Piranesi's infinite jails in Variations on a Theme by Piranesi. Erudition, it builds walls, not wings. So he turns east. Indian mysticism calls from Hollywood's Vedic halls, centers blooming like lotuses in the asphalt jungle. He studies, he practices, but the body hungers for breakthrough. Enter the keys, mescaline, LSD, peyote, hallucinogens, sacred sacraments for the modern seeker. Huxley, the rationalist, surrenders, experiments to shatter the veil, to induce ecstasy, to see. The doors of perception. 1963. No, wait, 1954. But it explodes like a bomb. Notes from the front lines. Huxley under Mescaline's gaze, chairs blooming into thrones, walls pulsing with living light. He aims for objectivity, a scientist's log, but it's laced with ambiguity, vague veils, irony. The tool to free the mind from its own gravity feels like a half-opened lock. Then the sequel, Heaven and Hell, the lapidary forge. Here he dissects the vision like a surgeon. Techniques of ecstasy across the ages, cultures, myths, religions. Mystic artists who danced with gods. Physiological triggers, psychological spirals, concise, complex, ingenious. The revelation, visionary versus mystical. Vision, a bridge to the psyche's wild edge, tied to the material. Antipodes of flesh and cosmos. A superior knowing, eyes wide to the infinite's details. Mystical beyond. Coincidentia oppositorum. Opposites dissolving in divine unity. Transcendence pure. Huxley, ever the cartographer, drags it to science. Vision, rationalized. Carbon dioxide floods. Stroboscopic lamps flickering like shaman fires. Pyrotechnics bursting in the brain. Nutritional lack starving the filters. He weaves a web. Psychology, chemistry, physics, history, philosophy. Mastery that dazzles. Sterile at times, yes. But shadows of eternal truth flicker through, like ghosts in the machine. He'd glimpsed it before. 1945. The perennial philosophy. The thread binding mystics across time. One truth veiled in 1,000 tongues. Was he right? To split the sacred in two, that's the tease. The article whispers, perhaps he hurried, vision as antechamber to the mystic heart. Ecstasy's path, music's trance, poetry's fire, dance's whirl, shaman's call to the beyond. Huxley chased that chimera to the grave, and in his wake, a revolution. 1950s artists, Ginsberg's howls, Kerouac's road, drinking from his well. 1960s youth, hippies chanting total freedom, flowers in fists, acid on tongues, all inspired by this Englishman who traded tweed for transcendence. November 22nd, 1963. As the world mourns a president, Huxley slips the bonds, LSD in his veins, body and soul merging in ecstatic throes, stepping beyond the doors. The most beautiful death, they called it, a letter from his wife. It was a good way to go. So tell me, seeker, have you ever brushed those doors? Peyote in the desert, a poem that cracked your chest, a silence that sang? Drop it in the comments. What ecstasy calls to you if this stirred the flame in your depths? Like, subscribe, we'll chase the infinite together, one door at a time.